But my main problem is the noise. It's very offensive.
Can I ask you this, the noise, what, the noise is coming from, there's a whole host of aspects it could be coming from. Could be coming from vehicular traffic,
It's not the
the
traffic, no.
patrons,
It's the patrons.
noise of music from inside the restaurant.
It's the noise outside the restaurant. I do not have a problem with the music. It's just the voices that carry from the parking lot, beside the restaurant, the smokers that come out, the whole thing all together. It's very, very loud. And it's till closing,
Okay.
okay?
So Walter, so in relation to the petition to keep the patio open longer, at this point,
I wouldn't like it at all. When it was a 303, and Restaurant Daniela, when they didn't have an outside patio, I did not have this problem. But now, it's a constant noise problem.
Any questions for Mr. O'Rourke?
Mr. O'Rourke, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
When it was Daniela, the building was set back more and the parking was in the front. Was that part of the difference of?
Well, as I stated at first, I lived further up in the,
Right, I know where
where
you,
than I am now, and I still not have, I did have a problem at last call when it was a 303 years ago, but only at that time. The noise was never as bad as it is now. I don't know if it's the way it's set back, the back parking lot where everything carries more from the restaurant. Like I said, it's not the inside restaurant music noise, it's the people noise outside.
so it's mostly people just leave, when they're leaving at the end of the night? Because, I mean,
No.
because right now, the patio itself is not, oh, the smokers when they're standing, oh.
The constant, now that it's nicer weather, you want the windows open, we keep a fan on whether the window's open or not to try and drown it out.
Mr. Prisco?
Question that will relate to this. Are you serving food out in the patio now, at any time?
Want to come to this mic?
Please come up to the microphone. No, it's not your fault. He should have told you to do that.
I'm
before I asked
sorry.
the question.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, we do serve out until
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So, Mr. O'Rourke, do you hear that crowd of people
Yes.
that you do
Yeah.
during the day when they're out on the patio?
And then, another thing, last year, when you stipulated, when you first gave them this permit, you said they have to have a detail officer on there?
We looked
Okay,
into it.
Yeah, they won't allow it. They won't, they
Yeah,
won't come
okay,
out.
go
to-
on.
The detail officers do not want that job.
Yeah.
And I asked them why, they don't want to stick somebody behind there by himself.
I don't think it's related, my understanding, it's not related just to Great American Tavern. I think it's any licensed establishment with an alcohol license. That's the issue that the police department have. So it's not specific to the Great American Tavern, is my understanding. And I know the police chief is here.
That's
He-
correct.
Chief, would you mind addressing that, other than saying correct? Is it, I don't know if there's anything else you can add, but I don't want to
No,
speak for the police department.
That's been the standing policy. We do have detail officers inside establishments. Sometimes we do in the parking lots for traffic, kiddies during the Thanksgiving Eve, but other than that, we just do not allow it.
Thank you.
I guess, what do you mean we don't allow it?
There's a liability issue. We had an incident in an establishment about 8 years ago. Our officers were put in danger because they couldn't get through the building. And at that time, the administration had set a policy that they're not gonna have internal details just for liquor establishments. Where they're doing it.
That's up to the individual licensee. If they wish to hire private security to be within their establishment to monitor patrons, we certainly would encourage that and support that, but we can't put the town at risk.
That's a noise issue.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Ward, a couple questions. You were before us about a year ago. They came before us regarding the patio. And at that time, you had the lighting, and I believe that was corrected by the landowner.
The lighting, as I stated earlier, is much better.
In terms of the noise, did the noise change at all from your perspective?
The same.
Um,
It's not as bad in the winter, but this,
Sure. Windows are closed.
now when you want the windows
You think
open,
Right, right.
Yeah, can I just say something? In that building, there is 3 other units that are right now not occupied, but there is eventually gonna be people going in there. So, I mean, you're probably gonna have the same issue, people are gonna go outside to smoke or whatever establishment goes out there. So the way the building is set up and it's so close to the street, the noise just stays back there, whether it's people walking, talking, the cars. I mean, you're gonna get that, and the later the night comes, you know, it's quieter out there, it just seems to carry. I mean, we've done everything, we're trying to shift the people over, we put the signs up, but, I mean, I can't stop the people from going out to smoke. It's, you know, it's the hardest thing, but, I mean, we're talking about sitting down, I understand it's the noise, but I think, sitting at the patio eating food, I don't think, I mean, I think you're gonna get the noise, whatever the circumstance is, they're gonna go out and smoke, they're gonna talk, and then if someone's there, they're gonna try to talk over that person. It's just a hard situation, it really is.
But the more time you add out there, the more noise you're adding, with the more people there.
Anything else, Mr. Roy?
No.
Anyone else? No? Anyone else?
Sean, Bob was asking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Did you have a
No,
question
go
for him?
ahead. No.
Okay. My name's Kathy Bythrow. I live at 2 Brooks Road. And I too grew up in North Reading, and we had the club and the Barnside Restaurant. It was my understanding that the detail was not going to be in the building, that it was going to be outside because it was a parking issue at Plough Ave. And I can tell you right now that the band is just as loud. 3 streets over, and I can hear it with my windows closed till 1-ish in the morning. So those nights you have loud music, which I thought something was going to be done about that too. The noise on the other side of the street has not improved. I don't hear the outside crowd, but the cars leaving drag racing at 12:15 woke up everybody in my house. I personally thought it was a motorcycle, but my niece and nephew next door said that it wasn't. It was cars peeling out of the parking lot, and that's quite often. But the band noise has not changed at all, and I don't know what our regulations are in town, but for me to hear it that clearly and to feel the vibration, and I know last time the manager said that that was the owner of the building's issue, not his, but it's a neighborhood problem. I don't know what the noise level is from the patio, but I thought the detail was to limit the parking issues on Plough Avenue, and that management was going to encourage the patrons to be quiet as they were outside the building. I don't believe that the police were asked to be on detail in the building. But I don't know the patio hours. I don't imagine you want them out there past 9 o'clock at night if it's that bad. But I certainly don't think it would be fair to be out there till 12 or 1 o'clock, because I don't like the noise on the other side of the building, and that's just your cars racing up and down 28 when they leave your parking lot. So for the people on Plough Ave, I do think you need to consider limiting the hours that the patio is open. But I don't see that the noise has improved on any of the other issues that were discussed at our last meeting. So,
Any questions for Mrs. Bythrow? Any? No? Okay, thank you. Chief, I don't want to put you on the spot, because I don't know if you were prepared for this, but over the last year, do you have any idea of complaints coming into the department regarding the Great American Tavern, whether it be automobiles, noise issues, disturbances down in that area?
That I do have.
Oh,
And-
thank you.
Yes.
Well prepared. That's what we like.
Essentially, the calls that we get for service, and I can just read it to you, we have an alarm call, just regular police information, 911 medical, alarm call, a domestic disturbance, alarm call, medical, alarm, and a disturbance that dates back to 2010. So we're not getting the noise complaints called into this, into our, and we're not responding for noise complaints as far as our records go.
Thank you. Mr. Valiakonis, do you know whether or not any of those complaints are coming into town hall?
None.
And I just, I had done a little bit of research today. What I understand the last meeting that was here was that the residents were gonna call the owner directly. I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
so maybe that's why we're not getting the
Correct.
complaints.
Good point.
That's,
they've emailed me, and I rectified the situation immediately,
Okay. How many times have you received an email
twice.
from, twice since you've been here, since the ownership of the restaurant has been here since last year? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Anyone else from the neighborhood that'd like to give comment? Board members?
Just a comment. It was It seemed to me that the construction of that building, the open lot, is a big factor. I'm wondering if we could put pressure on the owner to maybe put up a fence, high fence around the perimeter that might help with respect to the sound getting off into the neighborhoods. That's on the backside. It's an awful design the way they did that. On the front side, if there's a lot of cars peeling out of the lot at closing time, it would seem to me that maybe putting a cruiser down there, word will get out eventually. That's not a good thing to do. And, that might help that particular issue. As far as the band making enough noise that it can be heard across the street, I would think that's annoying, and that either the sound level's too high in the building or some steps should be taken to at least isolate the side that's reflecting the sound across the street.
Which we have, the walls are soundproof, but we're only 30 feet from the street, the building, just right there.
Yeah, I understand,
You know,
but, that's,
It's a,
I physically leave the building and walk the perimeter of the building to see if I can hear the noise in the street, and if I can, then I go in and tell the band to turn it down. We had open mic night last night, I did the same thing, sat out in the parking lot, Father's Day barbecues, wanted to make sure I was respectful of the neighbors, and I couldn't hear it.
Anyone else? If we were to allow you to extend your hours to somewhere in the range 9, 10 o'clock, is that something that you could live with?
oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm not in support of that until some of these other issues are resolved. Starting with the band, I mean, it would seem to me there's no reason for the band music to get above so many dB. And they can control that inside. It seems to me that gets out of hand as a function of the crowd that's in there. And typically, band MCs tend to like to jack up the music to get everybody going. So, I mean, there's some basic things that can be done. With respect to the noise in the back, I think maybe you should go back to your landlord, you're paying the rent, and tell them that something's gotta be done about it.
The only thing that I'm unclear about is people eating at 9 o'clock isn't gonna stop the noise at 1 o'clock from the people smoking. They're still gonna leave the building, they're still gonna go outside and smoke at 9, 10, 11, whether the patio's open until 6 or 9. And the people typically in the patio were just sitting there eating and having a cocktail, not really loud.
And am I correct, that area, that patio area is fence enclosed?
Yes,
On, the restaurant's on one side, it's 3 sides fence
Yes.
enclosed, or at least 2?
No, all of them except for 2
2/3.
openings to get in.
Mr. O'Leary?
Just as far as, what's it going to do for, the noise at, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. You're coming in looking for an accommodation to the license to assist you in operating, making it more profitable. At the same time, we have some,
Well, hold on a second, no, we're not, it was,
you know,
the patio was open, but it was a stipulation put in place for that to be the designated smoking area.
Mhm.
Well, that couldn't happen. The ABC won't allow that.
that's because you're serving food there. Right.
It's food and alcohol.
Right.
So that's the problem.
now we can't do either. We can't smoke
So I
in there
can't-
or serve food and alcohol, so now it's just
Close.
dead
So we had the
space.
previous manager come in here and we brought up we were under the misimpression maybe at the time that you could mix the two or whatever it was, but you came in and this is what you sought and this is what you got. Now you're looking for something more. We have some inherent issues here with disturbing the neighbors that need to be addressed. Now, I recognize that, the building is still 2/3 vacant, so that the owner of the property has a cash flow issue, I'm sure. By the same token, if you're gonna make some leasehold improvements, maybe you can make some accommodations on the rent to help, shield the neighbors from the disturbances that they're currently experiencing. So, I mean, if you can get some commitment to address that, whether it be shrubbery or fencing, whatever it's going to be, to address some of these other operating issues, you know, creating more activity outdoors, which is what you're looking to do, can exacerbate the situation. Again, people sitting and dining, so they're not gonna be that noisy, I hope, but can exacerbate the situation. You're putting more people outside the building, which is what the design of the building is poor at this particular point in time and should be addressed. Is it a landlord issue or is it a tenant issue? That's between you and the landlord. In the meantime, you know, we have to react to the neighbors in the immediate neighborhood as to what the current conditions are and what you're looking to do. Are you looking to create more outdoor activity? Or we have a problem with outdoor activities taking place there already.
They're not in the, this is a 6-foot-high fence that they're barricaded in. And that was you guys requested us to put this 6-foot fence so that the noise would stay in there, so. I just think we're being safe by being in there, being corralled in there.
Mr. Prisco, then Mr. Foley.
I think we do have a little bit of responsibility